is doing well, and I hope that you guys had a good week. And if you are in any of the areas where Hurricane Hillary is supposed to touch down, I've been praying for you. I am smack dab right in the middle of California, so I don't think it's gonna affect us. We're supposed to get some rain, but that's about it as far as, everything goes currently. Also, just wanted to give everybody a heads up real quick. So today's live will be Britney Spears' divorce. We are only going to focus on the divorce part of things. Hey, Ronette. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out about Britney. I have a video where I covered what's really going on in her situation and how she's not really free already. You can go back and take a look at that, but we have to be careful when we talk about conspiracy type things. Anyways, on the tube, plus, we have other subjects to talk about today as well. So, hey Donna, hey Caitlin, hey Sana, hey Ronette. I had to come on early again because I am on mom duty again, and kiddos got friends coming over later. Hey Kay. Oh, thank you, Donna. I got it at Target. They just put them out, so I had to grab it because my other biggie shirt shrunk so freaking much over time. I don't know. It turned into a crop top basically. So I haven't been wearing it. Hey Kimberly, how are you? I do, but I still kind of don't feel amazing. I don't know if it was just because all day yesterday I was running errands and then taking stuff out because we cleaned out my closet. So I had a bunch of clothes that I needed to take to the Goodwill. And so I was going out and back and forth to the car and the trash can. And then I had errands to run too. So, and it was really hot. So I think maybe it was just constantly going in and out of the heat and the cool air got to me. But I'm sorry I had to abandon y'all last night on the Patreon live. I was so sad because I had so much stuff I wanted to talk about, but I'll do a video later on for you guys and finish up and post it. Hey Ashley, how are you? Well, I was gonna say, guys, I think from going forwards, we're probably gonna have to do lives on Saturdays more around this time because my son is not going to his dad's every weekend anymore, so, and he always wants to go hang out with his friends or have his friends over or have me take him somewhere because he's 12 and that's what they do at this age. So, but I'm happy about it though because I have him all week, and I know this may sound selfish, but in the evenings during the week, it's I'm talking to clients because that's when a lot of my clients are available, obviously, because they're out of work. And, then when I'm not, it's make dinner, make sure he took his shower, get his clothes ready for school the next day. It's we don't have tons of quality or fun time. And then he'd go to his dad's on the weekends when I actually we would be able to have time together. So I'm happy that he wants to stay home more, even though I know it's not because he wants to hang out with me. He wants to hang out with his friends, but I'll still take it. So anyways, are y'all surprised that Britney and, as I call him, Scam, are splitting up after, a year and change of being married? Because I think that they said it was 13 or 14 months, because now it's come out that they put the date of separation on the paperwork as that they separated in July. So Hey, Toke. Hey, Sana. How are you? Oh my God. Hey, Mimi. I'm glad you made it. Hey, Yumira. I know. He definitely makes my skin crawl. Did you guys see all the like things going around? Like, because Octavia Spencer, when they announced the engagement, she said get a prenup. And then when the news came out, that, you know, people were saying that he was threatening to expose her if she didn't renegotiate the prenup with him or give him alimony. Because obviously they weren't married long enough for him to get alimony. And Octavia Spencer commented, she's like, extortion is illegal and I hope he goes to jail. She's like spotted right through him from the beginning too. She is good, D. She still thinks that she rules the world. She's taking her nap right now. So, but, okay. And I want to know, before I even start shuffling and asking the questions, do you guys believe, because, you know, there's another rumor that supposedly she cheated on him with like the housekeeper or a gardener or somebody. Do you guys believe that either? Because it just seems like, you know, and if you're in my Patreon, you especially know I've been telling you guys this stuff was coming. You know, that they're definitely trying to, you know, smear her and make her seem like she's just, you know, because now I saw their stories coming out that she's just so difficult to live with, that supposedly she, you know, puts hands on him and that he has no control and all she wants to do is just spin around in the living room all day long. So I don't think so either, Caitlin. Hey, Hannah. Hey, DeMarcus, Mom. Hey, Miranda. This is just my whole thing with Sam whenever people are like, oh, this was like a completely genuine situation. Britney was, you know, she supposedly met him while the conservatorship was still in place. Her dad has made her break up with other people in the past. They controlled every single person that was around her. For God's sake, Iggy Azalea said they couldn't even eat a fucking salad together because the conservatorship team wanted to come and, like, you know, put a bomb squad in her house and act all fucking crazy about it and stuff. Like Iggy Azalea was gonna do something to Britney. So the idea that like Britney was just allowed to randomly exchange phone numbers with some random ass dude that she did a video shoot with and then date him and had any choice or control in the matter, it's just has always been like, I highly doubt that, because she wasn't even allowed to see people that she was friends with for years, like Lance Bass when she was under the conservatorship supposedly. So, well, this is the thing that annoys me about that is 2 years ago, everybody was dragging Perez Hilton, TMZ, all of the tabloids that they said that did all these horrible things to Britney, and it was, we need to protect mental health matters, it's a real thing, blah, 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 blah. Now everybody's right back to bullying this girl again and talking crap about her. So people never freaking learn or change, you know, but it's just sad because it's like y'all are doing the exact same shit to her, exploiting her, making fun of her. That was the reason that she ended up in this situation in the first place and that everybody was crying about when it happened. So can you tell me about the current separation, divorce, Sam Asghari, thank you. No, she never, I mean, really, even, you know, how people have said that people within the industry are so heavily controlled because they're constantly, you know, if you start off as a child star, you have your parents and then your team at Disney, Nickelodeon, whoever that's controlling every single thing that you do and your image and what you're allowed to say and not say and all that. Then you go on to become a teen pop star, they're going to do the same shit, and maybe your parents are no longer like as in control the day you turn 18, but you have, you know, Scooter Braun's and Larry Rudolph's and people like that that are calling every move and controlling you and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't think she ever really truly knew any kind of freedom. So it's really sad. Well, you know what I've noticed too? I think when people say, oh, we need to give people space for mental health, number one, they never include addiction issues in that. Because if we did, you know, then that would cover people like the Demi Lovato's and the Amy Winehouses and other people like that, where we would understand that that's like self-medicating because there's a deeper mental health issue. But also it's like when it is a situation like a Kanye or a Britney who experience very typical things that people with certain mental health issues go through, whether it's the mania or the hyperfixation on certain things or whatever, then all of a sudden it's, oh, they're crazy and it's a free pass to make fun of them. It's like mental health is only supported and okay if it comes in a pretty package. You sit in your bedroom and you just cry all day long and you have anxiety and you don't want to leave the house. But God forbid you do anything else. That's too much. That's too weird. It's not okay. So that's what I don't like, is that people pick and choose which parts of mental health they think is okay to support and which parts that they think is gross and weird. And oh my God, lock them away from society. They're worthless. So we need to do better about that kind of stuff as a society overall if we ever truly want to remove the stigma around mental health issues. Yes, Teddy, I am. I think it's just from, because yesterday all day I had to keep going back and forth inside and outside in the heat and then in the AC. And by the time that I finally sat down to do the live, it was really kind of like the first time all day long that I sat down and sat in the AC. And I think it was just caught up with me or something. So exactly, because if it fits the depression aesthetic, you're the moody girl, the sad girl aesthetic, but you're still, you know, most of the time wearing cute clothes in a decorated bedroom, wearing makeup, with your hair still looking presentable. You know, when you see those types of things being passed around and everybody's like, oh my God, mental health, you guys. But let it be somebody that's experiencing, like I said, manic issues, addiction issues, you know, schizophrenia even, and then it's too much and oh my God, what's wrong with them? Why would they act like that? And they act like they have a choice. You supposedly have no control over your anxiety, but Kanye and Britney and Taryn Manning and everybody else that y'all want to be picking on at this moment, supposedly you're supposed to be able to control their mental health. Like, come on, it's bullshit. So, rant over, but I was like, everybody should know by now that Bella don't be playing about no mental health issues. No, real mental health does not look pretty. Go to your local behavioral health center and stand in the parking lot. You will definitely see it's not cute and it's not pretty. So, okay. And by the way, guys, because for those who are wondering what the heck happened, I got really nauseous last night and I had to cut off the live and Patreon. And just because I may also be dehydrated, I am drinking filtered spring distilled water, whatever it's called. And I put some Himalayan salt. You just put like a quarter of a teaspoon and then like an eighth of a teaspoon of baking soda in my water because it's supposed to help rehydrate you, balance your electrolytes, and remineralize you. And it's actually recommended that you drink this every morning at least 20 minutes before you drink coffee because it helps your body remineralize and rehydrate after obviously not consuming liquids all night when you were sleeping, and then helps boost your adrenals before you hit them with the caffeine, and then they gotta kind of work a little harder throughout the day. So especially if you have a lot of anxiety, guys, and there's no real like reason why, like I'm not super stressed out about anything right now, sometimes it is that you have adrenal fatigue. So try to look into doing things that help support that part of your system. So just a little tip. Oh, I'm glad you made it, Maddie. Yeah, I was like, I'm on mom duty most weekends now, so we gotta start doing them earlier, but that's okay. Also, guys, if you did want to book a reading, you can use code 20 at checkout, psychicbellalove.com, and that will take $20 off any appointment. Have I tried green tea for caffeine? I have. Yeah, and usually I do try to drink like loose teas if I can. Because of that, you know, plus the waste that like the tea bags also cause. So, oh, well, I'm just super into trying to kind of constantly research more natural methods for health stuff. So, hey, motivated queen. So, all right, guys, let's get into what Spirit has to say as the first kind of general pull on this situation between Britney and Scam, and then I'll ask more direct questions. So, he has Spirit saying Sam has always kind of had ulterior motives regardless of what anybody else around him was telling him. And I don't necessarily get that it was always 100% about getting his hands on her money, nor did he always 100% think that they were gonna like stay together forever or get married. It's like, I thought that just being connected to her would get my name out enough that then like I would be able to start my career as like an action star or whatever the hell he wants to be. And, you know, he could take his clout, build a career off of it, and then move on. That wasn't happening, you know, as quickly or as much as he thought it was going to be. Spirit's also saying like he thought that by being her boyfriends, especially in the beginning, like, oh, like, I'm going to be way more visible. So he was kind of pissed that the conservatorship, like, made him hide a lot of times. Didn't let him go to certain events with her. Didn't let him, you know, kind of be on all of her shows and get pulled up on stage and get shown off as much. It wasn't until more the end of the conservatorship that we saw him being much more visible with Britney at that point. So now, because he feels like he didn't get everything that he wanted out of this situation, because it's like, I'm not super financially stable on my own. I didn't build the acting career, the influencer career, whatever the hell I was, trying to accomplish while I was with her. I'm going to need some money to hold me over until I can find a way to profit after the fact of this. Like, does that mean I'm going to go do a bunch of interviews? Does that mean that a bunch of other celebrities are going to be interested in dating me? Because, I think he's kind of hoping that this like gives him the Pete Davidson effect. Because remember, nobody looked at Pete Davidson any type of way until we just thought he was a big old doofus, until Ariana Grande dated him and then told the whole world that he was packing downstairs. And then all of a sudden, he became the go-to boyfriend, especially for rebounds, once they split up within the industry. So Sam is hoping for that same type of outcome, but obviously it's like, I need money to survive in the meantime. So there is immature and nefarious ways that he will go about trying to make sure that he does get more from her. So while they're publicly saying, oh, Sam isn't going to do any of that and he doesn't care and he wants to just move on and he only ever had respect for Britney or whatever bullshit that they're claiming. Also, if you noticed on the divorce paperwork, he is asking for alimony. And while he will not get that, most lawyers have already came out and said that Britney's side will probably just cut him a check regardless, so that he just basically goes away and then they can hurry up and get everything settled. And he knows that, but he's also aware that they're going to try to lowball him. Oh, I want $10 million and I know that you guys are going to try to give me $1 million and then I'm going to have to pay taxes on it and I'm only going to get to keep half of it. So I'm going to start saying, well, what about that time? Well, you guys didn't know that I have a video of her screaming. You didn't know I have this, I have that. So he's definitely holding on to shit, and he is going to try to use it in his favor to negotiate as much as he can financially gain from this situation. Hey, Juicy Fruit. Hey, Dario. Hey, Tenna. So that is where we are basically at with this, but he definitely feels like he is owed far more than what they've already been offering to him, because Spirit's saying before he even filed the paperwork, he was already in negotiations with her side. It was, hey, we're gonna break up. I'm gonna go file for divorce. If you guys want the opportunity to have her file it first, if you want me to go away, if you want me to just sign off on everything, we need to start talking. But like I said, as far as right now, nobody has came to a number that he is happy with. So he is ran to go file, release statements, started calling TMZ and letting them know what was gonna happen. And has had people putting out stories about her, because Spirit's also talking about him being behind the things that people are saying. It's the immaturity, the Page of Cups, like gossiping, but he's the one. His team is doing it because they're trying to push for a financial settlement that they want. There's a woman, I don't know who his divorce attorney is, but there's a woman that's definitely helping him with this. This Queen of Wands person that is very manipulative, and she's behind the scenes kind of like, Sam, say this, Sam, do that, tell them this, helping him to try to get this settlement or amount of money that he's looking for. He does have some damning things on Britney. Now, again, we're not going to delve into all the conspiracy theory stuff right now. I've done videos on it. I have a bunch of information on it in my Patreon. Patreon.com/psychicbowlove if you'd like to join. But I will say this, Britney, I'm trying to think of how to say it right so I don't get in trouble on this platform. Britney may take one thing that they tell her is for her issues, but it is not what she thinks that she is taking as far as, you know, medications go. So obviously, because she's not in control of that, because Britney is not free, they just changed the name of the conservatorship to a care plan. She still has no control over anything in her life. And obviously, when you have people who have a vested interest in controlling you and in your downfall so that they can profit from it, they would set you up in situations where they know that you would react badly and record it to have it in their favor for later on. It feels very much like, do you guys remember the Depp and Turd trial? And she, you know, had the cup right here and the camera like half behind it, and then he figured it out and started like freaking out and slamming cabinets. And it was that she was, and you could tell the way that she was speaking to him was in a very purposeful way, where she was trying to paint herself out to be a victim and collect evidence that he was mean or aggressive or, you know, obviously still dealing with his substance issues. Scam has done the Amber Heard shit to Britney. So he does have something that he is holding on to that is a bad look and could put her in a situation where not only would you not want people to see, because that really hurts perception and makes people even more so believe that something is wrong with you, but also could possibly cause her to have to go back to care facilities and things like that, and that's the last thing that she would want out. So he's very, very shady and has a lot of shit up his sleeve that he is willing to pull out to get what he wants. I feel like we're gonna hear that Britney ends up paying him off. We won't hear the amount. They'll make it like, oh, it just went along the lines with the prenup, but really she's, you know, her and her team are going to be pushed into making some sort of a, okay, shut the F up and go away and sign this NDA kind of a settlement with him. And Spirit's saying that they have obviously put him under NDAs in the past and confidentiality agreements, but it's almost like, well, he could still pull some shit where it's like, he didn't release the video, he didn't post the pictures, he didn't, you know, tell the story. It's friends of his that do and things like that. Or, oh, somebody hacked his account and got a hold in his iCloud and got all his videos. You know, I'll still find a way to get the information out there kind of thing, unless you really come up with something that makes me happy that would keep me from not wanting to do that. So let's see. Spirit, did Britney actually cheat on Sam? He's not going to get alimony. He'll get a payout, though. And I believe something I read yesterday said something like that their prenup said for every 2 years that they were married, he would get like $1 million, but he hasn't even obviously made it to the full 2 years yet. So this was on, I believe, Popcorn Planet. Christopher Melcher was talking about this, and he was saying, you know, that basically the way that things are being reported as to whatever, you know, the prenup said, he basically wouldn't get shit right now. So he definitely has reasons to ask for alimony and then to try to force them to pay him off to go away. But I guess that whole amount was supposed to cap at like 10 million regardless, you know, if they stayed together for the rest of their life or something. So he didn't make it the full 2 years though. That's why I was like, if you're gonna be a fucking scammer, at least do it right. You couldn't have even stuck out for 2 whole entire years. I swear. Like, I feel like the gold diggers and the gigolos and the scammers or whatever you want to call them, they don't play the long game these days. They're just like, yeah, I tried. I'm out. I can't stay this long. Like the older generation, they would make sure that they made so that the prenups probably would have expired or they could challenge them easier because it's like, well, 20 years ago, we didn't have shit when we signed this or whatever, you know. And the 10 years in California, at least, it would still give you like some alimony. These new ones, though, they're just like, yeah, I put a year in, I'm done. And then they want to go like make a bunch of TikToks, you know, bashing the person or whatever. And it's like, that's so short-sighted. Like, you should just wrote that shit out like you were supposed to. So okay. I mean, I will confirm this. Who we see that's being told to us is Britney Spears on those videos is not always Britney Spears. They definitely use lookalikes and Photoshop and AI and things like that. So Spirit is saying if there is any video of her doing anything with any staffer, it's not really the real Britney. But it being caught on security footage far away enough, you know, and it's a lookalike wearing what she would usually kind of wear around the house, you know, the little t-shirt and panties and boots, then he could pull it off and say, oh, look, that was Britney. She was cheating on me with the gardener. But she didn't. Spirit's actually saying that even though they're trying to spin it as Sam being the one that ended this, it was actually Britney's side. Britney did not want to have to pretend to be married to this person anymore, which I think we've been able to kind of gather that she did not have a choice in marrying him in the first place from all of her posts about her wedding that they would constantly delete. And she was hopeful that at least she would be able to get a baby out of it because that's what she really wanted, but that didn't happen. And so Spirit is saying Sam was incredibly mean to her. He talked down to her. Like it was like, oh, if you see videos of us where I'm, oh, my lioness, or whatever the fuck it was that he called her, and was acting like he was super duper supportive of her. When nobody was around and the cameras were off, he spoke to her so pretty much the same way that her dad did. You're fat, you're dumb, you're embarrassing, and constantly was putting her down. And Spirit saying Cade Hudson played a big part in helping her to get out of this relationship and convincing the team around her to allow the divorce to happen. But again, because they were trying to negotiate things with Sam, he wasn't hearing the things that he wanted to hear from them. He jumped the gun, leaked the info, spun it as he's the victim, and then ran to file for divorce first and put out the statement first to try to control the narrative around things and make it seem like I just wanted to love and support Britney, but it was just too difficult and I have to step away because it wasn't helping either one of us, but I still care about her, you know, bullshit that he's spreading. But really, she was the one that was over it, and so were the people around her, because he was also trying to assert himself with the people around her and try to be a little more in control of things. And if we have learned nothing when it comes to the people around Britney, the second that anybody tries to kind of go rogue and do their own thing, Team Con, because I'm going to call him Team Con, because most of the people who were around during her conservatorship are still around her now. It's just they got rid of her dad, and Lou Taylor is not publicly letting herself be connected anymore. But Cade, all the people that played a part in her downfall and the control of her are still there. So they have a history of getting rid of anybody that they feel like is going to be a challenge or is trying to take over. And Sam was also doing that. He wanted to do things like, I want to make a YouTube channel and make vlogs and make Britney be in them so he could, you know, he knew everybody's going to go run to watch Sam's YouTube vlogs and see if Britney's okay or how she acts. Not because anybody gave a fuck to see Sam's YouTube vlogs, because we don't care about him, right? And he wanted to do things like that. They were like, hell effing no. So it was Britney's side that got rid of him, but he's still going to try to spend. I know, I was like, that's so hard, because no matter how you say that name, it still sounds like the actress. But no, her manager, he used to be her agent, and apparently now he's her business manager. And she calls him her best friend. He's in all her vacation pictures and stuff with her. So he's the one that I feel like him and Sam did not get along at all. That would be funny, though, if Kate Hudson was the one that got Britney and Sam to divorce the actress. I mean, apparently she's friends with Drew Barrymore, and Drew Barrymore was at Britney's wedding, and stranger things have happened because it's Hollywood and everybody's somehow related to or connected to each other in one way or another. So it's just like, pfft, wouldn't surprise me if she was somehow involved in all of this. It's definitely a power struggle over this woman suffering. You're right, Hannah. It's more like it's a power struggle over who gets to control and take advantage of and abuse Britney the most, right? And I think, honestly, it should have been obvious to a lot of people anyways, because I do see people that were really, like, freaking shocked and surprised that they're splitting up. Nobody ever thought it was weird that, you know, she goes on all these vacations, but he's never with her. And then they always made the excuse that he was off filming something, and I'm like, what was he filming? I never see any movies or TV shows coming out and being like, starring Scam, Britney's husband, in the new this or that show or movie, that it would make sense why he literally, like, was never on any of the vacations. But Cade was always there. Dude, seriously, Ashley, that's why I hate talking about the Britney situation, to be honest with you, or even reading on it, because it makes me so angry, and not in an angry way where it's just like, oh, these fucking disgusting ass Satanists that are all in Hollywood, but angry because it's like, how, like, you can't know this information and not do something about it. But then it's like, what can we do? And there's been plenty of people that have called the FBI, called the police, done whatever they could to try to get her to be okay, but nobody can get to her. Nobody knows where she really is. You know, nobody knows if she's okay or any of that. And so it's so sad, because it's like, it does, like, it makes me, I literally grew up with Britney. She's only a year older than me. You know, I was going through high school when she blew up. So it's like, I've watched her live her life the same time I've lived mine. And it's like, I just want to go like rescue her, and I can't. Makes me feel so helpless. And then I just get really angry, because it's like, what the hell can we do to try to save this poor woman? So, understanding yourself, I've already done a video on that. If you go back, I'll tell you it's not going to be good. Pray for her. But there's also only so much I can say on YouTube. So that's why we're just focusing on the divorce right now. But she has no way of getting a new team. Britney has no control over her life. She is just as controlled as she was before. They just moved her dad and Lou Taylor out of the way, put new people in place of, in control of her, let people who proved themselves by helping control her so well that they promoted them, like Cade. And so she really has absolutely, like, she can't get rid of anybody. She can't choose to have better people in her life. She doesn't have those choices. You know why, Mimi? Because some people think about it, okay? And I'm just using Lotto as an example because I saw, you know, her being reposted earlier. Somebody like Lotto or Carlos, who so desperately want fame and money and to be seen as a superstar regardless, they're totally going to be easy to control. You're right. However, are those same people ever going to be a Britney Spears, a Michael Jackson, a Prince? Because people like Britney and Michael and Prince have such a huge level of fame and this it factor that made them superstars in the first place. And while, yes, they had teams of people who were able to help propel them, they still had to have something that people wanted to see more of, and that people were interested in their lives and their music and became so attached to them. Whereas the Carlos and the Lottos don't, right? So it's the same way that I was talking about, you know, people like Chris Brown and Tory Lanez, and again, Michael Jackson and Prince. You know, when you have a certain level of talent and when you have a certain level of fame, you are more likely to tell the powers that be, I can obviously make it in this industry without you, or I've made enough money that I no longer need you. F off. And then you can't be controlled any longer. And then guess what happens? Sony, Columbia, Jive Records, whoever is no longer going to make a bunch of money off of you anymore. So it's in their best interest to try to keep controlling you. And so they have to go to such drastic measures to try to control somebody like that. They're not going to just do what they're told because they're just, oh, yay, okay, sure. Like some people will. Exactly. It's the impact, you know. That's why when people want to compare and say that like Taylor Swift is Michael Jackson famous, No, 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 she is not. Taylor Swift does not need the entire military of other countries to protect her when she visits those places, just because so many people are going to be so excited to see her that there's going to be stampedes and buildings being torn down to get to her. Whereas that was a very real thing that happened to Michael Jackson. Look at when Michael Jackson did the Super Bowl. He came up out of the freaking floor and just stood there for minutes while people screamed and cheered before he even made a move and started performing. People would see Michael and pass out. Britney was very close to that level of fame, and if things hadn't gone the way that they had in her life, she probably would have ended up in the same Michael Jackson level of fame. But Taylor Swift, she's famous, but she's not Michael Jackson famous. And think about how, you know, especially when you think about a Michael Jackson, you can go to countries where people are in the most poorest of areas and don't speak a word of English, and they'll still know who Michael Jackson is. I guarantee you they don't know who Taylor Swift or Cardi B or Lotto are. So they'll probably know who Britney Spears is too. You have more control the more popular and talented that you are. And then that's when you become a threat to them and why they want to fight even harder to control you. So, exactly. And Britney was definitely supposed to be one of the, if not the first billionaire cosmetics perfume person off of those perfume lines. Well, understanding yourself, I think you probably need to look more into the Illuminati and the Freemasons, and then you'll understand even more what all is really going on in this situation. And y'all don't have to, but if you want to, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/psychicbellove. That's where we talk about all that stuff. And that is the only place that I take requests to. I know. It's like, speaking of which, let's just take a look. All we're doing is seeing how Tory is doing right now. And I'm taking a real risk even talking about this on here because they keep taking down all of my videos on that situation and using the I said words that we're not supposed to say on this platform anymore excuse. So that's why I mostly only ever talk about Tory on my Patreon now, just because, not because I'm not supporting him, it's just because it's like they're going to take my channel down or keep taking everything down. They really want to shut everybody the fuck up when it comes to that situation. So, and if anybody wants to book a reading, psychicbellove.com, you can use code 20 at checkout until midnight tomorrow night to get an extra $20 off any appointment. I did lower my prices last month and never put them back, so you're getting an extra discount on top of the discount. And a heads up, don't ever sit around waiting for me to suddenly become available, because I set my calendar months in advance and work on off of my schedule. So whatever is available is available. If you need to talk sooner, you don't want to wait, that's what the emergency appointments are. So you can speak to me within 48 hours. But I don't know, but we're talking about Tory Lanez, not Tory spelling right now. Understanding yourself. So, how is Tory Lanez doing currently? Just mentally, physically, as well being, all of that. Thank you. I'm sorry to disappoint, guys, but I highly, highly doubt that they're going to give Tory bail while he fights for his appeal, just because, think about it, you know, same way that this judge was not going to recuse himself because he supposedly did something wrong in the case. They know if they let Tory out on bail while he's on appeal, then he's going to have all kinds of access to get online and tell everybody all the corrupt bullshit that happened to him. Whereas people are going to want to hear everything from his point of view, you know, so if people aren't going to listen to him as much or take what he says seriously as much if he's behind bars, right? Because that gives people the idea that, oh, well, you are guilty, so you're just lying through your teeth, versus taking it more seriously if he's out on bail and on house arrest or something like that and can advocate for himself. So, I mean, we can always pray for a miracle, but I don't think that, you know, we're going to see him get bail, unfortunately. If you want to put in requests understanding yourself, you got to join the Patreon. I don't take them on YouTube. He's really trying to keep his spirits up right now. And overall, he's really trying to go into a deep, deep spiritual place within himself. Spending a lot of time in prayer, trying to find time and moments where he can meditate. Really trying to keep his mental health in a good place because he knows that he's nowhere near done with this fight. But it's also a he's determined that he's not going to give up and he's going to keep fighting because he knows that he is innocent. So I do feel him being concerned, though, because it's like, obviously, somebody is so far hard out of their way to keep me here and to take me down. So there's this worry, obviously, that I think anybody in their right mind would, you know, feel, especially in that situation of, what else are they going to try to throw my way? What else are they going to do to me? Because obviously he got set up, he got thrown under the bus, he got convicted, you know, it's just like the whole situation didn't make any sense to him, and it felt like he was so blindsided by everything that was coming at him. And so he is still worried about that because I feel like there being a question of the physical safety aspect. Because you know that I'm going to keep fighting to prove my innocence, and should I get my freedom and my innocence, obviously I'm a fucking talk and tell the truth. And obviously, the more that I keep fighting things, the more information is going to come out that is going to paint certain people in a bad light and make a lot of people question other people that were involved in this situation, you know, whether it's the DA, the judge, Rock Nation, whoever. So there is a vested interest in making sure that Tory keeps his mouth shut, even if that means Tory no longer needs to be here, or he needs to be hurt so badly that he will just sit down and be quiet. So there is that worry that he's constantly feeling like he's got to be on guard about that and is stressed about that. And I know that they said, oh, we put him you know, in outside of the general pop or whatever, we've seen plenty of people who were in solitary confinement that didn't make it out of solitary confinement. Cough, cough, Epstein, cough. So that does not necessarily mean that Tory is safe. So, Princess, it would not have mattered if Tory testified. It would not have mattered if Tory didn't do anything on social media or did do it. They were always going to try to take him down. He had no chance. This was the plan. So, and as far as testifying, any lawyer will always tell their defendant, when you are the defendant in a criminal case, that they don't want you to testify. Their tactic is to always try to destroy the credibility of the witness, or to pick apart the witness statements enough that the jury doesn't believe them and the evidence that the prosecution puts up, so that the defendant doesn't have to testify. OJ didn't testify. Scott Peterson didn't testify. Most people do not testify on their own behalf in criminal cases. In lawsuits, it's a completely different story, obviously, but he was doing what his lawyers told him to do. And again, Spirit saying it wouldn't have mattered if Tory got up there and told the truth on the stand anyways. The prosecution and the judge and Rock Nation and every single other person that had their fingers in this somehow, some way, was going to make sure that they would have destroyed his testimony, made him out to be a liar, and still convinced everybody to give him a guilty, you know, conviction anyways. They were on a mission to get him. He couldn't have done anything to save himself. I'm just, you know, it's sad, but it's the truth. Well, you know what? I think that, and I say this all the time because, you know, when we talk about dating the wrong people or sleeping with the wrong people, and that you can ruin your life by dating the wrong person because either, you know, you pick up, as I call it, karma cooties or energetic attachments and soul ties to the wrong people, or because, you know, you can have situations like this happen, whatever. We always blame women or only think that like it matters in the context of women. When I keep telling men that's your literal life force energy that you are sharing with somebody, that is just as deep, if not deeper, than what a woman is sharing with somebody as far as soul ties and energy attachments and the spiritual connection of it. When you sleep with people, so that's why you need to be real freaking careful about that. But also, if we haven't noticed what the universe has been trying to tell us, whether it's Tory's situation, Will and Jada, Johnny Depp, Mariah Mills, and that Zion guy, when you date the wrong woman or you get involved with the wrong woman, look at what can happen. Johnny Depp's whole entire career was destroyed. And yeah, he won his case, but have we seen him like getting tons of movies and work? Not really. I mean, think about it. Chris Brown, he's forever got a stigma attached to him. So there's always, you know, consequences to these types of things. And even when it does come out later that it's like, oh, well, maybe that wasn't true actually, there's still people out there that think that Amber Heard is a victim and that Johnny Depp is a horrible monster. There are still people out there that, because they believe that, will refuse to ever buy or support anything that Johnny Depp is involved in again. So there's real consequences to this stuff, and that's why we have to be really careful about who we date, man or woman, gay or straight. It doesn't matter how you identify. You got to protect your energy, because these are the types of shit that can happen when you deal with the wrong people. So you don't have to stay single. You need to work on yourself, because the more that you work on yourself and the more self-esteem you have, the less that you are willing to entertain any old bullshit from anybody, and the more that you'll be able to spot the red flags and be in a space of like, yeah, maybe Megan Thee Stallion is really beautiful and she's fun as heck, but she's messy as hell. And she causes so much drama and she's always falling out with people. And you know what? Maybe I don't want to step into that world, because I'll be the next person that she has a blowout with. And and then you protect yourself and you don't sit around getting involved in situations like this. But we have to work on ourselves so that we will always choose ourselves and that we can always use our own discernment. Because when you think about it, where Tory fucked up the absolute most was getting back in the fucking car with her when she went back to Kylie's. He should have seen Megan's on one, and me getting in that car when she's already pissed is not going to calm anything down. Everybody's just going to keep fighting even more. So I'm going to make sure that Quan takes her home. And then once she's home, he can come back and get me later. And I'll talk to her tomorrow when everybody sobers up and has had something to eat and gotten some sleep. And then we can have a logical conversation. That would have changed everything for everybody that night. And that's why we have to stop being so quick to want to prove a point, to argue with people, to fight with them, to engage in negative activity, because we can have an argument right now, or tomorrow we can have a discussion. Which one is actually going to do anything in the long run that's positive? The discussion tomorrow. The arguing tonight ain't going to do shit except put everybody in a worse space. So, we can all learn something from this situation too. This is what happens when you hang around the wrong people, and why we need to be careful. Exactly. Because especially when you hear about how much they were drinking at that house. Tory had 5 shots right off the top when he got in. Kelsey was so drunk that she passed out in the pool and could have drowned and had to be carried inside to go sleep it off. Megan was doing shots all freaking day long. Like, there is no way that when people have gone through bottles and have been down in shots like they're water, that anything productive or good is going to come out of that. So, and I refuse to argue with people these days. Either we're both going to come from a calm place and have a constructive conversation where everybody's willing to listen to the other person's point of view, or you can just be mad at me and I don't care. That's where I'm at with things. Like, it's not my business if you want to be mad at me and you don't like me anymore. That's your problem. So, but Tory's okay, you guys. He's very much hoping, obviously, that he still will get some justice, and he is a little paranoid right now, but mentally and spiritually, he's in a good space. So, and he's really hoping, obviously too, a lot of people want Tory to just do it, one of those voice recording things that he's done that they've posted on Instagram and tell his side of the story. Guys, they're going to use it against him if he did something like that in his appeals, and they're going to say, look, he's not even remorseful, because they used all the social media shit against him. that they could anyways, both in the sentencing and the original trial. So, of course, the DA would just say, oh, look, he's still trying to harass Megan from behind bars and turn it into something like that rather than he doesn't have a gag order on him anymore. So it's just his turn to tell his side of things. And on top of it, you know, obviously, if he's gonna get another trial, then he would want to probably wait until then and then have his side of the story told where it actually counts in front of a different judge and jury. So don't be pissed that he's not speaking out, guys. He has to do things in the right way, because his life is literally on the line. Like, there's no room for mistakes anymore in this situation. But this is also why I keep saying people, you know, not people, if Tory gets another trial and the appeal goes through, he has got to have this on camera, the same way that Johnny Depp's trial was on camera, the same way that Young Thug's is being televised, because you cannot get away with trying to railroad somebody and pulling all the dirty shenanigans and tactics that they did with Tory if the whole world is watching. That's why Johnny went and had his trial in Virginia, because the judge was willing to allow cameras in the courtroom, and the judges in LA said no. And the LA court system is known for being extremely corrupt. Like, I remind people all the time, this is the same court system that put Britney Spears in a conservatorship and said that she was, you know, too mentally incapacitated to care for herself, but yet she was also somehow able to carry out world tours and Vegas residencies. Make that make sense? So we need Tory's trial to be moved and televised. Because think about it, guys. What if a Megan Cuniff type person was the if we had Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial in LA in a closed courtroom with no cameras, and we had to rely on somebody like a Megan Cuniff to tell us what was happening in that courtroom? Do you know that regardless of how, you know, even if he still won, people would have still been sitting there going off of that biased lady's fucking words and being like, oh my God, Amber was such a victim and Johnny's horrible and I can't believe that the judge screwed Amber and let him win. It would be an entirely different conversation around that. It's the fact that we got to see everything on camera and we got to see Miss Amber. What do you think about when you guys got in a fight on the boat? Amber turning to the jury. Well, my dog stepped on a bee, and the night before, Johnny was like throwing bottles at me all night, and I had a huge black eye, but I used vegan cream, so the bruise went away in an hour. That's why nobody could see it in the video, you guys, but it was so bad. My sister couldn't help it. She started crying. That's exactly what that whole entire thing was, and everybody got to see what a fake-ass bitch she was. Can you imagine if we'd got to see Kelsey and Megan testifying on camera? We would be, I guarantee you, probably having an entirely different opinion of her the same way that we did with Amber Heard. I mean, look at how many people thought that Megan was faking it on the Gayle King interview. Remember on the Gayle King interview too, when she tried to make it seem like nobody even argued or was fighting and that this all just happened out of nowhere? I never slept with him. We wasn't even fussing at each other like that. We were friends. I don't know why this happened. I thought he was gonna kill me. Everybody was seeing through that. So it was so cringe as fuck. So could you imagine if you had an entire trial of that rather than just that little 10-minute Gayle King interview? Are you serious? Oh my God, Lindsay. Not surprised, because look at how Rock Nation thought that they were going to make this the Rihanna versus Chris Brown part 2 type of a situation. Look at the Good News album cover. The whole rollout and all of it was very similar to Rihanna's Good Girl Gone Bad era. They just watched, rinsed, and repeated and thought, well, since it worked for Rihanna, we're going to make ourselves another superstar. And America said, I think the fuck not. That was the thing that I was like, really? Dance, bitch? Nobody else said that except for her. She is the only one that says that. And I was like, that was where I kept thinking from the get-go. When I heard that that was supposedly, you know, when they came out and said, oh, he did this. And then when they said that she was saying that he said that to her right before he went bang, bang, because I got to be careful about how I talk about things here. I was like, okay, this whole situation is so incredibly questionable. Because that makes no sense that somebody would really say something like that. Especially, I just could not imagine Tory saying that to her. So, it doesn't sound right. Exactly. Kelsey said he didn't say that. Nobody else heard him say that. Only her. So, just like she supposedly did not that she supposedly, you know, wasn't going around behind Kelsey's back and sleeping with every guy that she ever got with, or, you know, all the other stuff that she lied about. Exactly, Hannah. They all have the same patterns. Kenny Petty is another example of what happens when you deal with the wrong girl, and she got mad because he wanted her to leave so his real girlfriend could come over and ruined his life too. Thank God, because he's married to Nikki, he's finally gonna have a chance to redeem himself. But again, even if next week the state of New York came out and said, you know what, we fucked up, Kenny Petty never did that, and arrested his accuser, there would still be half of the people out there that would still want to call him the horrible names that they call him and still claim that he did it and make all kinds of excuses that the state of New York is horrible and they went after a victim and we need to save Jennifer now. So once somebody ruins your name like that, you know, that's the sad thing. Even when the truth does come out, there's still people out there that are willing to believe it. Well, I'm just going to say this too, because I've unless somebody outside of the Black community follows a lot of Black blogs, like On Site and Mob's World and the Shade Room and stuff like that, most people, like white, Mexican, Asian people that I've talked to, barely know who Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez are in the first place, much less have absolutely no idea what really like even happens, much less, you know enough details to say something seems fishy about this. So it's no coincidence that we saw Little Miss Megan at the CMT Awards, because Rock Nation knows if the Black community isn't going to forgive her and support her, then the next thing that we're gonna do is push her out into other communities and try to gain her an audience outside of that, because they really have no idea to have any preconceptions about this situation or her. Oh, she probably thinks that she's gonna prove everybody wrong. You know, oh, they just, you know, whoever still wants to believe this, they're stupid and it's their fault. They don't matter. And that she thinks that, you know, it's just all it's gonna take. And I'm sure this is what Rock Nation is telling her, is that all it takes is just that one hit song, that one thing that you do, and then everybody forgives you and forgets what happened, and you're the golden child again. That doesn't work anymore for most people, by the way. So let's look at, it was like, speaking of people who seems like they were gonna have a good little run and then all of a sudden fell back off again, Miss Coi Lerays. Well, that's the thing. There's every single day there's somebody new that's popping up on the music scene. That's why people like Carlos can't afford to be lazy, because there's 20 other girls that are going to come behind you that are willing to do everything that you did to get to where you are in your career and have the look and the sound and whatnot, but they can actually write, they can actually rap. So it's like, you can't sit back and be lazy right now in the, you know, music industry. And things move so quick, you know. It's like people put out a single, then 2 weeks later they're dropping another one, rather than letting the single breathe and build for a minute. So everything is just moving so fast in the industry. You got to keep up. So, well, that's the thing. If you're an asshole to work with, or you're not as talented, and I really, you know, believe that because Nicki's coming back, we have people like Doechii that are coming up. You know, hater or lover, we got people like Doja Cat. JT's starting to pop out more. People are tired of the stripper rap, the mumble rap, the Carishas and the Carloses that have dumbed down music so much that we're going to see the pendulum swing real hard in the opposite direction soon, where people are going to want somebody that actually can write a rap, somebody that actually can stay on the beat. We don't care that you have your ass out. Can you actually sing? Can you actually write? Is this something that I want to listen to outside of the club or Forever 21? Like, our standards are going to come back. And then it's going to be real hard for people to, you know, just sit back and be lazy like Carlos, because it's like, girl, you're barely tolerated. Okay. Coi needs a new team, because she was so overpromised on what her sophomore album was supposed to do for her, or sophomore, whatever this last album was that she put out. I don't know if it's her sophomore album. I thought it was, but remember, you know, I mean, I barely was like, wait, she's releasing an album, because, you know, it was just kind of like half-assed mentioned, and then it dropped, and then nobody talked about it. And I do know that she even said that, you know, the label and other people around her were not promoting it the way that she had hoped that they would. But I didn't see Coi doing a lot of promotion on her own for the album either. And as much as we can, you know, make fun of Chloe Bailey or whatever, I mean, Chloe at least gets on Instagram. She previews a song for you. She lets you hear it. She tries to get you excited about it. She'll even show clips of herself making the damn song. And Chloe didn't get like a whole bunch of support, obviously, for her stuff, but at least she tried to support her own album and promote it on her own. And Coi wasn't even doing very much of that. So for her to solely blame it on like the label heads and them, you know, over promising things and then not showing up to promote or support or any of that when she dropped the album is still short-sighted. She still needs to hold herself accountable in this. Because again, like I said, she could have pulled a Chloe Bailey and at least took it upon herself to, you know, post a fucking clip of you dancing around to your song and post it on your Instagram stories, at least something. She didn't do any of that. So, in Spirit's saying she's kind of in this place where she definitely let a lot of the hype get to her head. She thinks that because, you know, a lot of the reason why a lot of her songs off of that first album and when she first popped out even ended up growing was because, you know, the sounds went viral on TikTok or whatever. She assumed that that was going to be the case again. So it's like she was being lazy. Like I wasn't really doing all of this stuff, you know, that I should have been doing because I assumed that what everybody did for me last time around was going to happen. And it's like Spirit keeps talking about her like having this explanation to the people around her as well as like in her own head of, well, this is more like the old school way of doing things where people would put out a song and then, you know, sometimes it would take 6 months after it was released and it got some radio play and people started, you know, becoming aware of it. And then it would take 6 months and then it would end up in the top 10. Because that was a little bit of what happened to her the last time around. But Spirit's just like, now you have name recognition. There was a difference. You were still a new artist. You were still establishing yourself. You got lucky off of that. But this time around, now that people know you, now they know who you are, now they know what to expect from you, you should have gotten bigger numbers automatically, but you also shouldn't have assumed that people are just going to go and do all the work for you all over again too. But also keep in mind, you guys, a lot of the reasons why certain songs go viral on TikTok or whatever is because the label paid TikTok or they paid certain creators and said, hey, we want you to create a dance for this song and post it. And, you know, it's the new sponsorship thing. But her label didn't really do that this time around. And they also weren't like, I keep feeling like as far as how things go with the label, they still are not 100% confident in Coi. They were hopeful about her, which is why even though she didn't have the best sales, even though she had certain songs go viral, but overall she did not have the best album sales on the last album, they still allowed her to make a second album. I feel like this EP that she's going to put out is kind of their test And labels are doing this to a lot of people too, guys. That's why a lot of artists, like, you just see them kind of only put out singles for a while or only put out EPs. And that's because that's all their label is giving them a budget for, or allowing them to do, because they're trying to test the waters and see, are people into this sound from you? Are people still into you? Do we need to change anything about this, or do we need to just shelve you because you had your moment and it's over? Or is there something that we can do, that we can tweak and redeem this? So Ice isn't lazy though. Like, you have to give Ice Spice credit. She has jumped on every opportunity. She's out there working. She's not only, you know, because the thing that we see a lot of times too with some of these artists is, as soon as they blow up, then they just do the Cardi B special, or even the Sweetie special of, I just take on all these endorsements, but I don't continually go out and put out music or perform. And then it's like, are you an entertainer or a rapper or a singer, or are you an influencer? Because, you know, I thought I was supposed to count on you for music, but apparently I'm supposed to buy freaking chicken bouillon seasoning from you instead. So at least Ice Spice hasn't fallen into that. Like, she's still putting out music and working on it, which I have to give her credit for. If she doesn't get to work, she's shelved. Exactly. Well, and that's the damn thing on top of it too. Who the fuck thinks that I need some suggestions on recipes or seasonings, and I'm gonna go to the girl that everybody knows doesn't and can't cook to get those recommendations from? I mean, at least pick something that matches. Like, wouldn't it make more sense when you think about it with, like, the image that Carlos is trying to portray for herself, that, like, she would advertise for, like, Molly Maids or whatever that company is called, and be like, I told you I don't cook or clean, so here's my maid service that I call to come clean the house. Or get a freaking Grubhub sponsorship because you don't cook. Y'all gotta rely on Grubhub all the time. That would make way more freaking sense than to have her advertising for Walmart and Knorr seasonings. Especially too, because this is why y'all know that Target is a Nikki stan company. Because Carlos always be posting herself in Target, but I've never seen her in Walmart. But Target was like, yeah, right, bitch, we're not sponsoring you. Go to Walmart with that trash. So, I know, right? Thank God there's other companies that make chicken bouillon. We don't only got to depend on Knorr for that. Nikki actually has a right to be cocky. Exactly. And you guys, we were talking about this last night on my Patreon before I got sick and had to cut it off. Think about this, you guys. How many people, like, when we see, like, the Davidos, or I'm gonna say the name, but I'm probably gonna say it wrong, Jungkook. How many of them do you think that when they made that song were in the studio and they said, who is your dream feature on this song, that they really said Lotto or even knew who she was? It's because somebody at the label said, you have to put her on your song. Because I guarantee you, if they got asked, Nicki Minaj was the answer, and they either got told that she's not doing features right now, they don't have the budget for Nicki, or that label doesn't like Nicki, so they weren't gonna let it happen. But nobody's first choice of this is who you can put on your song is Lotto. Let's be really freaking honest. Oh my God, where did you find those at, Lindsay? Isn't Lotto working with Scooter Braun in a way? I don't know, but I will tell you guys this. My son started school. He was supposed to do homeschool. That did not work out, so he had to go back to regular school. So we just kind of had to get because I had to change my schedule because of that, because I had to be available to take him back and forth to school when I wasn't expecting that. So when I have to change my schedule, sometimes that means that I end up working every single day until I catch up. So I will have some, pre-recorded standalone videos coming still. When we move, I'm going to go live so much more. If you want to donate to my moving fund, join the Patreon, like this video. You can cash at me, Psychic Bell Love, with the little thing in front of it. Buy a reading, but I will do way more videos when I can, because then I'll have better space and ability to do it. But I am going to do a reading on Scooter Braun and Justin Bieber in the next week. So I didn't know that he was somehow involved with Lotto, though. I'll have to look into that. The Blackpink stans are beefing with Lotto now. What happens? I wouldn't want any BTS fans to not. The army is strong, man. That's not the fan group that you want to come after you, or any of the K-pop stans, really. Oh, thank you, Sana. Yeah, Lotto definitely needs to hang it up. So the Nigerians are upset. They hate the song. They're going off on her. Dude, I've seen literal petitions to get her off songs. Remember when there was a petition because people didn't want her on the Chloe Bailey song? And then that, what was it, Freaky T song, I think it was, with that Tia girl? Because somebody else told me about Tia, so I just went to her page to go see who she even was, because I'd never heard of her. And I saw that literally, that same day, she had just announced that Lotto was going to be on the remix of her song. Her whole entire comments was, every single comment was, we don't want this. The song does not need a remix. It was completely fine with just you. Please don't put Lotto on here. She ruins songs. It's not going to chart. It was just nothing but people begging her not to. I was like, people do not like Lotto. I keep saying this. I'm like, she's not likable. There is something about her that just rubs people the wrong way, whether it's people that are pissed because she's a mistress, or people that don't like her because of her dumb shit that she did with Nicki. There's plenty of people that don't like her because of the Kodak stuff. She's just constantly pissing off a fan base, if you notice that. So there's always a group of people that got a problem with Lotto for some reason. And it's just and she still thinks that she's some kind of legend and that she should have all the same acknowledgements and accolades and opportunities as people like Mariah Carey and Nicki Minaj, and it makes no sense. Her food always looks gross to me too, guys. I know people make fun of Tamar Braxton because she'll use canned vegetables. I would rather eat Tamar's food any day though, because even with the canned vegetables, it still looks edible and like it's still gonna taste good, and that you would be surprised that somebody can make it taste good because there's canned vegetables in it, versus Lotto that it's like, regardless of whatever the hell she says it is, it always looks exactly the same anyway. And it looks gross. A lot of these rappers are gonna have to start looking for another career. I guarantee you guys that we're gonna see so many of these people that, you know, we thought are cool right now, or we kind of thought, okay, let's wait and see, like, if they get their place within the industry or something. We're gonna see so many of them on TikTok, not on TikTok, promoting their music, literally doing lives on TikTok and hoping that people are gonna donate to them, becoming YouTubers and content creators as a last ditch effort to like make money and still be entertainment industry adjacent without having to actually go out there and like bag groceries at Trader Joe's, or, you know, have some other kind of a 9-to-5 job. Because once they got that taste of that fame, that's why they're going to hold on to it and make them damn selves look like fools, because there's no way that they want to have to go back to a normal life. She's got Jenny from Blackpink was Jenny Ranner for being allegedly racist to Muslims. She posted in her IG the Stansfield. Oh, okay. Pink Friday smells like Ariana's perfume, Ari, and Viva La Juicy. You know what? I think I have the Pink Friday body spray. I need to go compare that, because Viva La Juicy is like my favorite Juicy Couture perfume. I am still a work in progress, but I am not eating at Lotto's place. She put coconut flavored or vanilla flavored coconut milk and the damn cream corn and hella fucking sugar in it. I was like, girl, are you making pudding? Because that looks like corn pudding. It did not look like no damn cream corn. Does it smell good? It smells really good. Oh, wait. I thought you were talking about Viva La Juicy. I was like, hold on. Like, let me catch up. Did you see Ariana promoting her new perfume in the midst of all the drama? Oh, okay. That's what you guys were talking about. Rico Nasty saying in 5 years she'll be in Target. I didn't see that. Well, there was an article that went out that they were saying that like all the industry executives were depressed because they can't find anybody. Like, there's, which I've been telling everybody, there's no Nicki Minaj replacement in a basement somewhere. They don't have a bunch of actually talented people that could be the next generation of, or the new versions of, a Lil Wayne, a Nicki, a Drake, that they're just, you know, putting through A&R before we see them. And so this article was saying that like all the industry executives are depressed because they can't find any good like rap artists to promote, and that like the only person that's basically making any movement or noise is Ice Spice right now. And somebody wrote in the comments, imagine being depressed because you can't find more people to exploit. Because of course everybody's like, there's actually talented people out there, you just keep overlooking them and signing and promoting people like Carisha rather than actually talented people, because you just want, you know, to have everybody look and act exactly the same. But their card got declined. They're suffering a depression, right? So I'm not surprised, that after they've basically ruined hip hop, that now they got to go try to make other genres of music the it thing, because it's like, well, we don't know how to fix it. I don't know. Find actually talented people. You guys do know that a lot of times too, what happens to people, like when it's like, oh my God, like there's so many, like so many people that they had one style of music that everybody actually liked. And then once they like blew up, now all they do is sing about their coochie and their ass, and every song sounds exactly the same. A lot of times, even if you can write, the label won't let you. They just want you to record songs that they already picked out for you. And they want to push you to make a certain kind of music. So, that happens a lot too. I think Sweetie is kind of an example of that, because think about it. The reason why people like Sweetie's music, and in the first place, when she was just like starting to kind of go viral and everything before she got signed and all of that, it's because Sweetie was not the typical ratchet hood rat type of a girl that we've only seen for the most part, and she wasn't singing about those types of things. She was, the icy girl. I'm bougie, I'm educated, I'm not, gonna go run around in these streets like that. I'm a classy girl. And then all of a sudden now it's like she's just putting out ratchet music and trying to have this more like hood persona that she wasn't portraying at first. And that's why so many people like start like not into Sweetie like that. So Flower Swift. That's a really good name for her. And I guess Warner Brothers is really known for that and trying to control the type of music that they allow their artists to put out. So, alrighty, as far as Coi goes, I was like, let me finish this up because I just saw what time it is, and I got to get off of here in about 10 or 15 minutes because my son's friend is going to come over, and I don't be telling his friend's parents what I do for a living, so I want to like put all my shit away before his mom comes in. And they're like, what are you doing? I was like, well, we were doing ratings on Britney Spears on YouTube. She went and got a BBL, left Quacko, and everything went downhill. I know, I mean, that's the thing. It's like they just turned her into like every single other rapper girl. Oh, all my decks that I end up using on YouTube are always the Ciro Marchetti decks. You can get them on Amazon. I can't even tell you what the heck the name of these decks are because I have two. I have this one that I'm using right this second, and then this one. And I'll tell you, the reason why I use these ones usually is just because I read intuitively. So it doesn't really matter to me so much like what deck exactly I use, but intuitively I feel very connected to these. I don't read like other people do where they're like Celtic Cross and this card means that or whatever. So, well, I was just thinking this morning because my neighbor said hi to me when I was, in my pajamas with no makeup on taking out the trash, that like, if any of y'all like lived anywhere near me or ever saw me in person, you would probably be like, dang, because my hair is curly on a daily basis. I usually do not wear makeup in my personal life. I only put makeup on if I'm like doing a live. But also, I will say I am. My hair is darker and my skin tone is darker in person because iPhone cameras and ring lights wash me the hell out. But I was just thinking like they'd probably be like, oh my God, she looks so weird or something, or so, like such a slob. So anyways, let's see what they got to say about Miss Coi Lerays. So while she's sort of, you know, on this, like, you got to prove yourself place to her label, I don't feel like the EP is going to do the best. They just do, Lindsay. I heard that the box lights are better, and that's what I want to get when I move. But because I have to record in my dining room, I have to have stuff that I can easily take down and put away again. Because I don't have any kind of setup where I can like just leave everything out. That's what I want to do in the next place, and get box lights instead that just, you know, are in higher stands and stay there all the time. Because no matter if I put warm, cool, whatever like tone the light's supposed to be on, like I just feel like I always look like such a ghost on camera. I'm very like not as extroverted in my real life. I will say that. I am more of like what do they call it? An extroverted introvert. Like I will be outgoing only because I feel awkward and I don't want anybody else to feel awkward, but like my natural state is to be very introverted. Surprisingly, I know nobody expects that. So anyways, that's why I like doing lives better. I will say this because it's easier because I can bounce off of you guys like in the chat talking to me. Like when I'm by myself and I just have to hit record, like I cannot allow myself to think about it, because if I do, then I'm just like, because it's so weird when you think about it that like I have to be by myself talking to my phone. Nobody else is here, but I have to make it interesting enough that you guys feel like you're involved, and it's such a mind fuck, and it will make you feel so awkward and anxious. So that's why I like it when we're live, because I'm like, at least like you guys are saying stuff to me, so I have like something to say back, but I feel like I'm not as like funny or interesting or entertaining when I'm just like by myself. So really, I thought Twitch was just for video games, you guys. Is it just a live stream app? That's the reason why I've never gone on there, because like I was like, I don't play video games and I don't know how to do all that stuff. I don't know why I thought it was just like, I didn't think it was like just live streams. Like I thought you had to be like doing video games or something on there. So I thought it was for like more that. I'll have to check it out. So, alrighty. As far as Coi goes, though, like I said, I don't feel like the EP is gonna really like blow her up or do what she expects it to do or is hoping for it to do. I do feel there is a song that she will put out at some point in, it's like the next maybe 3 to 5 months, that'll be pretty viral and like successful, kind of along the lines of like Players Club. However, that's kind of it. It's like Spirit keeps saying, it's like she had a lot of potential and the industry was really ready to back her, but she's kind of in the same place that Lotto has been at. You know, when people respond to stuff too much, And they want to alternate between complaining about things, telling people to mind their own fucking business, and then claiming that they're so successful and they did this or that thing. No, well, I was on a top 10 last year. Oh, well, 5 of my songs did these numbers. People get really tired of that, especially when it's like, yeah, 5 of your songs did that, but the other 155 that you put out didn't go anywhere and everybody made fun of them and nobody liked them. So, you know, there's that side of things that, you know, kind of turns people off from her. So Spirit's saying, you know, kind of the projection of her career, at least over the next 2 to 3 years, is that there's going to be a lot of I feel like it's just like where she's at now is kind of where she's going to be at, and she'll have some hits here and there, but for the most part, nothing really like pops off so much. And we'll see her do a lot more of what Carlos and Sweetie do, which is the endorsements and the influencer side of things, and less of the music, because she's going to have to support herself, you know, one way or another. So Francisco, I don't take requests, and I've already done plenty of Shawn Mendes readings on this channel anyways. So the rap industry is cutthroat. I think it's the music industry in general, though. Because, I mean, look at Normani. Like, she got pushed into that where they just weren't, you know, her label obviously hasn't supported her. So she's had to take on, like, so much, what do you call, like endorsements and whatnot to support herself, since obviously she's not putting out music and going on tours and doing things like that that would be able to pay for her bills. So who would I like to do a reading for going forwards? Do you mean like who I want to do like a reading for, like on the platform, or personally? Am I gonna eat lunch after I get off of here? I will, Teddy. No, I think that they do, though, and I think especially female rappers, it is harder for them, because think about it, most of the male rappers that we see, they stand on a stage in sweatpants and barely move and mumble, and people eat it the fuck up. But then, you know, a girl can go out there and do a whole freaking choreographed dance in custom costumes, you know, put out like the best freaking verse of her career, and people are like, she should have worn blue instead of purple. That was ugly on her, and like don't really give them all that much credit, or still want more from them, but expect the absolute bare minimum from the guys. So yeah, I was like, it's almost 1:30 here, so I got to get off in a minute. Celebrity wise, nobody. I mean, I've read for a ton of celebrities and celebrity adjacent people who work for them. And I honestly, like, I'm not taking any celebrities anymore as clients, and I refuse to anymore. I much rather talk to you guys. I don't care that, you know, they would want to pay more or whatever. And it doesn't have anything to do with, you know, all the other strings attached. I just prefer helping normal people rather than people who, you know, have all the resources in the world and whatnot. Plus, I'm gonna talk shit about you anyways, regardless. So, what put me off celebrities? Yeah, I was gonna say, go to patreon.com/psychicballlove. There's thousands of posts in there that will explain why you should never ever think a celebrity has a better life than you, or that they are special or deserve anything more. So, there's plenty of reasons though. Not just one singular one. I'll say the only celebrity, honestly, that I would want to talk to would be Kanye. So, Kanye, maybe Nicki. Honestly, I would probably rather talk to Kenny than Nicki. I know that sounds crazy. Just because, you know, I feel like Nicki doesn't really need like a whole bunch of guidance anyways. And I just like, I don't know. I've always liked Kenny. Even when everybody thought, even when the Barbs hated him at first and everybody was like, oh my God, what is she doing with him? I was just like, that guy is nowhere near like as horrible or as awful as people are painting him out to be. And I feel like he's actually like a big goofy sweetheart. And then once I did my reading on him on here, I was like, I want to be friends with Kenny. I like him. So, yeah, I just feel like, you know, Kenny's been through so much, like, you know, it's just like that empathy part of it too, of like, poor guy, he just needs people to like, give him a hug and, you know, give him a chance. So, and Kanye is one of my favorite rappers, but I have a soft spot in my heart for Kanye. I always have. So, everyone's got skeletons in the closet, not just Kenny. Exactly. And honestly, a lot of the skeletons that people tried to put in Kenny's closet are not real skeletons either. So, people lie on people every single day. So, he is a real one. I mean, that's the thing. Like, when people want to act like, oh, like, he's a user, he's this or he's that, and it's like, all you have to do is go to, like, watch any old clips of Nicki and Safari together. That'll show you when a guy is trying to ride your coattails, but simultaneously is jealous and hates you for it at the same time. Versus Kenny, that you can tell, like, he only does the videos or stands in a picture or whatever because Nicki wants him to, but then he's doing it from a genuine place of love, so you can see that come across in it, at least in my opinion. So, and Kanye is a special one. There's nobody that's got that talent like him. And, you know, he's kind of like a Britney Spears in a sense of everybody wants to paint him out to be something so that you don't dig deeper and try to understand what's really going on and expose the truth, or at least be aware of the truth, even though Kanye himself has told us a million times what was going on. But y'all wanted to think that he's just crazy. So, Safari is so cringe. I don't know why. Dude, Safari is... You guys, every time I'm having a bad day and I need to cheer myself up, I go back and I rewatch the video. Nobody cares what you have to say. You wore a jean vest. So So if you ever need a laugh, go watch that again. It will just make you at least like have a giggle. Like go watch the old Safari and Nicki videos together and just how disgusted she was by him also. And I really have to get off, but I just want to leave you with this. Go watch the Check It Out video and notice how they couldn't even be bothered to give Safari a wardrobe that matched anybody else in the video. Like everybody's outfits coordinate the theme of the video, or at least the colors in the video or each other's outfits. And then there's Safari in his jeans and t-shirts, just not matching anybody, doing the robot. It's just like, what the F? Like, I don't know how Nicki didn't throw him off the top of a building. She really loved that man. Even though he annoyed the absolute shit out of her, she still loved him. So anyways, guys, I have to go, but it was so good hanging out with you. We will, of course, be back for a live next Saturday at the same time. Will be 11:30 p.m. Pacific and 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I always have to remember the other time zones. If you want to book your own personal private reading, psychicbellalove.com. If you want to join me on Patreon, patreon.com/psychicbellalove. And I will see you guys all later. Make sure you like the video on your way out and that you are subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss anything. I love you guys. I hope everybody has a good one. And don't forget coupon code 20 for $20 off any appointment, psychicbellalove.com. Have a good weekend, guys.